All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning, and thanks for listening in. This is the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint, and I'm Alex Matthew. Today's the 17th of December. In the top news, the US Federal Reserve strengthened its commitment to support the US economy, promising to maintain its massive asset purchase program until it sees substantial further progress in employment and inflation. Policymakers led by Fed Chair Jerome Powell voted to maintain monthly bond purchases of at least $120 billion and scrapped their previous pledge to keep buying over the coming months. They didn't announce changes to the composition of purchases in their statement, declining to shift towards longer-term maturities as some economists had projected or recommended. That's a move that would have pushed bond yields lower on the longer-term securities. Powell called the new language on asset purchases powerful, but declined to specifically define what inflation and unemployment rates would trigger a future change in the buying campaign. The Fed also revised its GDP projection, saying it is expected that US GDP will contract 2.4% in 2020, a smaller contraction than the earlier figure of 3.7%. In 2021, US economic growth has been pegged by the Fed at 4.2%. Now, the US Treasury Department's semi-annual report on the macroeconomic and foreign exchange policies of major trading partners has put India on the watch list of countries being monitored for currency manipulation. This isn't exactly surprising and comes on the back of the RBI's increased purchases of foreign currency as portfolio flows surged in the second half of this year. The monitoring list comprises China, Japan, Korea, Germany, Italy, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, and India. While India had been included in this list in 2018, it was removed in 2019. The department acknowledged the RBI's transparency in publishing data on intervention, but it called for the central bank to allow the rupee to adjust based on fundamentals. In other news, protesting farmer unions yesterday rejected suggestions by the Supreme Court of India to constitute a new panel to break the stalemate on the three new contentious agricultural laws, saying they want a complete repeal of the legislations. They also said that the government should have formed a committee of farmers and others before the laws were enacted by Parliament. Now, Indian auto parts makers who have witnessed a double-digit contraction this year as the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the economy would take 3 to 4 years to return to growth. That's according to the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association, which said that the overall turnover of such companies, which rose 18% year-on-year to $57.1 billion in 2018-19, has contracted by more than a third in the first half of the current financial year to $15.9 billion. In the telecom space, the Union Cabinet yesterday approved the next round of spectrum auction to be held in March, in which 2,251 megahertz would be sold. That's according to Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad. The government will, however, not put on sale spectrum frequencies that have been identified for 5G services. In international news, the Bitcoin surpassed $20,000 overnight, another milestone in what has been an eye-popping rally for the world's largest cryptocurrency this year. It rose overnight as much as 7% to $20,787 in New York and has almost tripled over the past year. In international markets, US equities ended mixed, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average falling about 0.1% and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq closing higher by 0.2 and 0.5% respectively. In the Asia-Pacific region, 2 of the 3 early risers have started positive. And with that, it's over to Hormuz Fatakia for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning, Hormuz. How are we looking today?
Good morning to you, Alex, and to those tuning in as well. After 3 days of sideways consolidation, the markets finally saw a day of healthy gains. Both the Nifty and the Sensex registered a new record high going into the weekly options expiry session today. The stars of Wednesday, though, were real estate stocks, and the Realty Index saw its biggest single-day gains since August to end at the highest level in 10 months. Now let's dive into specific stocks then. After Maruti and Mahindra, Hero MotoCorp has become the third auto major to announce a price hike across models starting the 1st of January 2021. The company has cited the steady rise in commodity costs across the spectrum, including that of steel, aluminium, plastics as the reasons behind this decision. Market regulator SEBI has granted the promoters of IndusInd Bank an extension of 1 month for subscription to the remaining 75% of the warrants worth over 2,000 crore rupees until February the 4th of 2021. The promoters had sought extension from the market regulator in the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic. Navin Fluorine has announced a capex plan worth 195 crore rupees for setting up a multi-purpose plant. The capex will be undertaken by the company's wholly owned subsidiary at its Dahej unit. The capex will be funded through a mixture of internal accruals and debt. The new capacity is expected to come on stream in the first half of FY23 and is aimed at creating new opportunities in the life sciences and crop sciences sector. Watch out for a company called Olectra Greentech, which along with EVEY Trans has been declared as the L1 bidder for 353 electric buses from 5 state transport authorities and 1 state government undertaking. Tenders for 300 of those buses are on a gross cost contract basis for a period of 10 to 12 years, while those of 53 buses are on an outright sale basis. The tenders are valued at 600 crore rupees. Some other stocks in news. Snowman Logistics will consider a fundraising proposal through a QIP at its board meeting on the 21st of December. And IRCTC has proposed to offer 16 lakh shares of the company to eligible employees through an offer for sale process from the 18th to the 21st of December. CSB Bank will be in focus today after Nomura Singapore has acquired close to 1% stake in the lender at 214.5 rupees a share. The stock, though, has not done well in the recent past and is now trading very close to its IPO issue price of 195 rupees. Over 100% on listing day, 20% on Tuesday and another 20% on Wednesday. There is no stopping the rally in Burger King. The stock has now tripled from its issue price of 60 rupees, and as a result of such moves, the price band on the stock has now been revised to 10% from 20%. An update from the Mrs. Bector's Foods IPO. The issue has now had overall subscription of 11 times on the second day of bidding. Institutional subscriptions stood at 4.7 times. Non-institutional subscriptions stood at 8.7 times, while the retail portion saw subscription of over 16 times. And some buzzing stocks that I would want to highlight from Wednesday's session. Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals closed at a record high with gains of close to 7%. The stock has more than doubled from its 52-week low in March this year. The other stock that I want to mention is Westlife Development. The stock closed with gains of over 12%, which was its biggest single-day gain since 2019. The stock also hit a record high intraday before cooling off from those higher levels. And Hindustan Copper continues to gain from strength to strength. The stock ended with gains of over 13% on Wednesday to close at the highest level since September of 2018. Early ticks on the SGX Nifty indicate that the index was flat around the mark of 13,680. Do log into BloombergQuint.com and read up on the All You Need to Know copy along with a lot more. With that, I wish you a safe day ahead, and it's back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Hormuz, and as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a lovely day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.